Gail Cruikshank, Talent Director, Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation, joins us now. Morning, Gail.
Good morning.
All right, so today we're talking about innovative workforce solutions. All right, tell us what is this?
That sounds great, doesn't it, for Monday?
Very exciting, yes.
Well, we always are talking about, yes, there are not enough workers. There still is, jobs plentiful. As you know, there's over 8,000 jobs on JobSpot just in our region. But there are some things working, and there's some new ideas out there. And that's why I just thought I would share a couple of things that we're hearing a little bit about, both on the recruitment side and on the retention side of talent.
What's interesting is that last week I think we heard that there was, I forget the number, but there was additional jobs created in the state. And I'm thinking, do we need more jobs
I know.
created?
The focus is all about adding more jobs. It's like we said, no, we don't need more jobs. Right. We need more people. So spend the money on, incentives to, let employers bring talent here or help support them with ideas on bringing talent. We have plenty of jobs. We just got to find some more people.
So the idea is we're trying to get people from other states. Do they also have these job shortage issues?
I think every state has some. I haven't really paid much attention to other states a whole lot, but I think part of it is, we've got some great pockets of talent and some, areas that we're not maximizing. And we've talked about this, I think, a few times in the past. But I think our employers need to be willing to look at things differently. I mean, no matter if we want to admit it or not, our world is different. Partly due to COVID, partly due to less people in a working age, obviously more people retiring. But there's people that still have a lot of skill that we're not taking advantage of.
Yeah. So for the most part, I guess, over the last couple of years, we did see jobs change in part because of COVID. And then there was less people working. More people decided to retire.
Right.
So that was a factor. And maybe some of the young people are not working the double jobs that they used to work. So there's a lot of different things that kind of factor in here, right?
Right.
So why is it so important to our region that we have the job seekers we need?
Well, because we've got so much opportunity to grow. I don't think there is a business in St. Cloud or in the St. Cloud region that won't tell you they could grow faster, grow larger, grow in a different way, add something else to their business if they had more people to do it, or at least more opportunities to get that job done. So one of the recruitment ideas that is kind of a little bit newer on everybody's radar is it's called returnships. And, I think, everybody knows what an internship is, those sort of things. But a returnship is looking at an opportunity where you've got really experienced, talented people, but maybe there's something that's a challenge for them to come back to work. You think about women, childcare, huge issue. We talk about it all the time. When childcare is more expensive than, or they would spend more money on childcare than they would bring home. Or if you've got veterans or somebody making a change in the industry, or people that maybe haven't worked, or maybe they retired during COVID and then they realize, I don't really want to be full-time retired. Looking at ways to bring them back and utilize their skill set, but bring them back in a comfortable way for everybody. I mean, a couple companies, maybe you start virtual and then you slowly work them back to the office, or you make them allow them to work a very flexible schedule. So maybe they can only work 2 hours here and then they take a couple hours off, or, they have those skills, but they just need that reinforcement and that flexibility to be able to utilize them. And obviously everybody benefits.
Right. So how about, since right now it's a job seeker market.
Absolutely.
Job seekers have choices. How about employment culture? Have we seen employers maybe adjust their culture to try to be more appealing?
They really have. And I'm really proud of many of our employers in the community because they're looking at it from their employees' lens. It's not just their decision to say, we're going to run my company this way. They're really listening to what those employees are wanting and what's important to them, and trying to adapt wherever they can. I mean, every business is different. They can't just make every request work. But if our employees know that they're being listened to, then they certainly feel that, okay, even if you couldn't do that one for me, I really appreciate the fact that maybe we did this instead. Or at least I know my voice was heard, because that is half the battle. More than half the battle is just those employees feeling that they are truly listened to.
There's better work conditions.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
Flexibility.
how about social media? How much is that a tool for employers and for job seekers?
It's a huge tool, because as all of us are, whatever social media platform we like, it's just that time where you can attract passive people, just get more people involved in your company or get them to know about you. You know, I just think as you're scrolling through at night on the couch, it's like, oh, wow, they look like it'd be a really cool place to work. Or I know somebody that's looking for a job. Maybe I'm going to let them know about this company. But also employees need to obviously manage their social media as well, because just as, you know, candidates are looking at employers are looking at candidates as to what their social media looks like and who they're connected to, and, you know, what do they mean, or what is their passion and their focus.
So you mentioned return ships, people, you know, going back to work. If someone is listening to this and say, you know, I don't know if I necessarily want to leave the house. I think you mentioned that kind of easing into it. Maybe it's I'm going to work remotely. Mm-hmm. Or if you do decide to go to a location to work, that maybe it's really on a part-time basis. Do employers need to be more flexible with schedules too?
Yes. And again, many of them are. But if you're an employer listening and you haven't thought about that, you really need to. Because again, don't think about it as I'm, you know, looking for less, but I'm looking at the candidate pool we have, and I'm figuring out how to best utilize it within my workplace. So it might look different, and it can look different for each employee. You don't have to have the exact same scenario for every single employee. And I think all your employees would understand that, because, again, they want to be fully staffed and don't have extra things put on them. And so it's a work environment that's going to be something that's going to continue to evolve. And the more flexible employers are, and that kind of leads into this other thing about reverse mentorship. And, you know, typically we always talk about mentorship as, you know, somebody that's been around, you know, an experienced employee is going to mentor that newbie, that new person coming in, that college graduate or something like that. Well, reverse mentorship is really turning that on its head, and our CEOs learning from our newest employees. And I think that talks to your point earlier, Jay, about are they really changing what their culture looks like? Well, they're listening to what maybe those younger folks, what ideas do they have? You know, maybe it could create more diversity with the company, or what is really important to them. You might not have thought of that. And so again, it's learning from all of your employees instead of you as that CEO or president just trying to be that top-down approach of this is the way we're going to do it in our company. You know,
one of the trends, and I remember seeing this about millennials, is that one of the things that millennials are known for is that they job hop. Mm-hmm. That if they don't like a spot, and maybe it's not even I don't like, just decided it's time to move on to something mm-hmm. else. Employers probably, that's not as easy, because you go through the effort of training somebody in, you get them established, and if they're there for a couple of years and they leave, you got to start it over with somebody else. That's tough.
It is tough, but also think about from the other side. They don't necessarily want to leave the company. They just want different opportunities, right? So if you've got a good employee, you know, give them a different task, or maybe get them engaged in some committee within your company. You know, they're not looking to just leave the company. They're looking because they aren't continuing to grow within that organization. So if you are continuing to provide opportunities for your employees, whatever level, it doesn't have to be a promotion. It can be a lateral move. It can be an extra responsibility that doesn't get any increase, but it's giving them more opportunity and knowing that they're making a difference.
From a financial standpoint, have employers had to try to up pay?
Yep, absolutely they have. I mean, it's amazing when you listen to what people are paying. And pay is important. And we have been known as, again, being a little bit behind in payment. So, again, that's encouraging that employers are recognizing that. But pay is not everything. Like you said at the beginning, it's culture and it's opportunity. Mm-hmm. And again, being that company that's a listening company, that my voice is heard here, so I know it's a valuable place to work.
Right. And how do, if you're a job seeker, how do you find out before you get that job what the culture is and what type of environment you're going to deal with?
I think the best way to do that is obviously social media, like you talked about before. You know, what do they look like on social media? LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that. Are they showcasing their company, their employees? And also, if you know somebody there, you know, reach out and say, hey, what's it like to work here? Or if you don't know somebody, you know, maybe it's reaching out to folks like, you know, myself or others in the community that have a lot of connections. There's nothing, I mean, I get called quite frequently to say, hey, do you know anything about this company? That's why I'm here. I mean, that's part of the role that I play. And if I don't know, I probably could tell you who might know. Like maybe I don't know, but hey, I know Jay knows because he has a friend that works there or something.
So, Gail, you follow us on a regular basis. Once we get past the holidays, in some, certainly retail has been like this, where some people are hired for seasonal help, and you get past that heavy lifting, you get into January, cuts sometimes happen, changes sometimes happen. As a job seeker, how should you monitor that if you're looking for work right now?
I wouldn't be so worried about that right now because everybody still needs people. The height of seasonal work only, I think, is kind of minimized a little bit just because everybody is, again, trying to keep up with demand. But again, if you're working or looking to work in a seasonal industry, which again, there's a few of those, then just make sure you've got a plan worked out. Have you talked to your boss about, okay, what does it look like in January? Do you think you have enough for me or should I be looking elsewhere? Again, it's that open communication that keeps everybody on the same page so nobody's blindsided. Or maybe they say, well, if you want to take a couple weeks off, a month off, then I know I'll have full-time work in March 1st. That might look really appealing, you know? So again, you don't assume if you don't, you know, you got to have those conversations both on the employee side and the employer side so nobody's surprised when it comes, you know, that after holiday time.
Gail, if people do have any questions, concerns, what's the website they should go to find out more about jobs in the area?
For jobs in the area, go to stcloudshines.com. That is where JobSpot is located. Jobs are updated every day. And again, it directs you right to those companies to apply. If you're an employer and want some more resources on recruitment and retention, go to our greaterstcloud.com website, which is our GSDC website that's got all kinds of resources that are free for anybody in the community to utilize.
Excellent, Gail. Thank you. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you again next month.
Merry Christmas to you.
That's Gail Cruikshank, Talent Director, Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation.